A shade to the great mother, a shade to wisdom and knowledge, a shade to truth, a shade to elevation, a shade to the ancestors, a shade for protection, a shade for divine insight. I am back. I just needed to click out and come back because my phone was starting to act up. But I have some information that I want to share. So while those who are um, coming back on here and looking for the live, trying to see what done happened, um, we finna go back into history. We got to go back and visit history because the spirit has been placing this on me to keep going back to, our past. And like they say, if you don't know your past, your future is a mystery. We have to go back to our past to understand what's happening in the present right now. All right. We got to go back there and see because, to be honest, there's no such thing as no past, present, and future. Everything is happening in the now. So when we go back and we look at that, we can understand what's happening in this moment. Okay, because all of this stuff is happening, right? So I'm gonna grab my board and I'm gonna look at my board, but I want y'all to follow what I'm saying because I'm gonna take you somewhere tonight. Peace, peace, peace to all those who are just tapping in. We finna go back into history and we're gonna talk about eugenics tonight. And if a lot of you are not aware what eugenics is, eugenics just means cloning. Okay? I'm gonna give y'all the etymology of eugenics. Eu means well or true or good. And genic, which is genes, means born, race, or kind. Okay? So whenever you hear eugenics, understand they're selective breeding, okay? And they are creating some kind of hybrid, okay? Some type of clone. That's why they call it kind, okay? So understand that there's a pivotal moment in history, right, that we need to go back to, right? And we talk about all of this stuff about cloning. We talk about the condition of our people today and what's happening and all of this other stuff. But this is what the spirit been placing on me, is to go back so we can understand. Now, we're going to talk about the war on drugs because the war on drugs play a role. So I'm going to go back into history and then I'm going to come up to this present day where we are at today. Now, as I begin to look back into history on what took place, all right, in America, and I created this timeline. America, of course, as we know, is not that old. America is considered a baby, okay, compared to all of the dynasties that existed before this place. All right, this place is fairly new, right? So as I go back into the timeline and I look at when slavery started here in America, which I got to understand is that before 1619 took place in Tamarine, okay, which is the old Egypt, which is what they call in America, there was indentured slavery that was happening overseas in Africa and places of that sort that was taking place, all right, before it even hit the shores of Egypt where we exist today, which is Tamarine, okay, the land of the Great Mother, all right. But it's documented in 1619 when the White Lion, which is the ship, okay, that pulled up on the shores of Hampton, Virginia, okay, which brought the first African Americans to Egypt, okay. Now, I'm looking at this because I had to dig a little bit deeper of the Gullah Wars and the Seminole Wars. And I'm not for sure if you guys are aware, but the Gullah Geechee people were the African people. Okay? They were the African people. All right. And this is why the spirit wanted me to go back, because I was somewhat kind of, you know, overlooking some of this stuff because I was tunnel vision on certain things. But the Gully Geechee people was in the South. Okay. They was in the South up under the British colony. Okay. Right. And those was the Gullah Geechee people, the African people that fought in the Gullah War with the Seminoles. The Seminoles was our ancestors, the indigenous feathered, okay, Indians on the land. And when you go look up Seminole, all right, the what it means is wild or runaway. Okay, so the Seminole was different. Um, our different ancestors that came together to fight in this 100-year war that took place, okay, and fought against the U.S. armies, right? So now when we look into that, and I go a little bit further, you got the Civil War that took place after they signed the Declaration of Independence and slapped us all into systematically and slapped us into institutionalized slavery, right? We all went into a form or system of being enslaved, right? Understand we were free on this land, all right? We became prisoners of war and we were turned into slaves, okay? Now, the Gullah Geechee people, which is the African people that came over here, that was a part of the indentured slavery, which y'all got to understand is before the British colony took over in 1619 and brought the first Africans here. Understand it was already trades and things that was happening over here in America with the Spanish Inquisition. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Spanish Inquisition and how the Spaniards were coming over here, taking over in different territories, trading and whatnot, doing business. And in their territories, they were putting indentured slaves, which were Africans, they were bringing them over here. Okay, that was fortifying the land and I was working with them. But they didn't have to deal with chattel slavery at the time. They can work a certain amount of time. They was trading them for food and supplies. It wasn't as bad as chattel slavery what we experienced when the British colony took over in 1619 when it started. So those first Africans that came to America, they didn't think that they was finna go through. They thought that they was just gonna do their little indentured slavery type shit and work and go home. But what happened was they came over here and immediately shit changed up on them. And they went into chattel slavery. Okay. Now understand probably before that, like I said, it was already Africans coming in and out over here. So y'all, we've been dealing with shit for a long time. Okay. We've been dealing with a lot of people coming over here to our land, trying to take over. All right. And you got the Spaniards, which was a lot of the mixed hybrids that were created through the African Moors over there in Grenada, okay, sleeping with them Spaniards for 700 to 800 years. Remember the last dynasty of the Moors was in 1492? They created a mixed race of hybrids, okay? And Christopher Columbus, he also was what they would call swarthy. Black wasn't a word that we use. Remember, black means dead. Based off the law dictionary, he was a swarthy, dark complected man. Okay? And he was a part of it. They knew we was already over here. He was a Spaniard. Some of them say he was an Italian. All right? Either way it go, he still worked with the Christian monarch, okay, that played a role in the Spaniard Inquisition, which gave them the approval to go around killing motherfuckers in the name of Jesus, trying to control people's faith in what they believed in, making everybody convert over to Christianity. Okay, so They got approval for that. Even Christopher Columbus got approval for what he had did. All of those expeditions coming up over here, y'all, they were bringing smallpox to us. They was bringing all different type of diseases to our people. They had military expeditions that was coming here. You got to ask yourself, well, what was our people doing? We were fighting, but they were also hitting us with diseases as well. They sent the white folks up over here, okay, on the military expeditions to weaken us. All right, they knew what was going on, and they were setting up shop, coming up over here, doing business, trades, and different deals, and building their territory and expanding over here, taking over certain spots, okay, and putting Africans in them spots, using them as indentured slaves. Yes, everybody wanted this land, okay, and so when the Christian monarch, the Catholics, took over, okay, a lot of the Moors bowed down and a lot of them got killed off. But it was the papacy, it was the Pope who put out this order to force everybody to convert over. It wanted to control what you believed in your faith. So they brought Christianity to our people on our land. They brought that stuff to us. That was not something that we believed in. It was forced upon our people. So we dealt with the Spanish Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition, they took down the Mexicans, the Mexican Indians. They took down the Aztec Empire, which is one of our strongest empires that we had. That was done by the Spanish crown. They took them down. So they was hitting certain areas, taking our people down with diseases and different things of the sort, and coming in with their military. So y'all, everybody wanted this land. Okay? They wanted the power. And so you got to ask yourself, you have 8 presidents, and I'm going to say presidents or governors, that was considered swarthy, or what they would say black, which we know what black mean, but they were swarthy, dark complected. Okay? They were Moors. That was before John Hanson. So it makes a lot of sense on why when Trump stated that this land was owned by a Moor, you got to ask yourself which Moor, because there are 2 type of Moors. You got the feathered Moors and the Moors that rock the hat. Okay, the feathered Moors is the ones that is indigenous to this land. They are your Tamaricans. Okay, and then you got the African Moors with the little hat. They from Africa. Okay, so Trump exposed this a few years ago, that this land was owned by a Moor. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense because we was dealing with the Spanish Inquisition and swarthy and mixed looking people taking over this land that was given by the order by the papacy to go around taking over and pushing Christianity on people. Okay, so understand that we went through a lot. And when the Africans were being brought up over here on the territory of the Spaniards, they didn't deal with chattel slavery until 1619. When the White Lion ship showed up over here, that's when the real invasion happened for us. The actual real full takedown. Okay, because when the British American colonies came together and took over, that's when the institution of slavery began. And the wars, the Gullah Wars, the Seminole Wars, because a lot of the Gullah Geechee people was from Africa. They were brought over here to America. And they didn't realize what was happening, that they were going into permanent slavery, that they were dealing with a whole nother other different type of people. So we was dealing with the British colonies. We was dealing with the Spaniards. You understand? We was dealing with 2 different type of evils at the time. Probably even more than that. So we was getting hit in every direction. So the 8 presidents that was prior, all of them was Moors, Spaniards, mixed. A lot of them was mixed. Definitely, like they would say, of African descent. But they were Moors. Even the Spaniards was Moors. The original Spaniards were European. Keep in mind. But then they started to mix. So you had Spaniard Moors. Okay? So let me continue. The Civil War between the North and the South. The South wasn't ready to stop legal slavery. They wanted the shit to go. You had the war going on, right? That lasted for 4 years. In the middle of that, you had the Emancipation Proclamation that took place that was issued to free the slaves. But was that really what it was? 1865, the Reconstruction era, after they abolished slavery, we ended up gaining our citizenship, right? We became actively, you know, in the politics world. We pursue education, formed churches. You understand? Engaged in stuff that we couldn't engage in. We engaged in voting, even though they had the Voter Suppression Act going on. You understand? But it still led to us being second class citizens. We had a second class status. You understand? And then we just kept getting hit. Kept getting hit. Then after that, we got hit with Jim Crow like 4 years after. Look, just follow me because I'm taking y'all somewhere. We got hit with Jim Crow right after that. The whole goal was for us not to never rise up. Jim Crow got hit. What did they do? Legalize lynching, the violence against our people. They legalized discrimination. Right? This was a nation system. Even though it wasn't legal in the North, they still had their forms of racial hierarchy in the North. It still was bad no matter where you went. Then we dealt with Jim Crow from the 1880s all the way up to what, 1960, 1970? Used to coach him in Pee Wee hoops before he went for that thug shit. Great player, but I had to bench him during the championship. You benched a 10-year-old in the championship game? Yeah. Little fucker called me a dickhead. Did y'all win at least? Hell no. He was our star. Then after that, you had the UN. Okay, there's no I in team. All right? The UN created the Nation of Israel in 1948. They was becoming established on our land, becoming a new nation. This is crazy. The UN came into existence after the war, 1945. Then they turned around and created their nation Israel, which was the fake Israel, to gain world domination, claiming that they was the chosen people. Overall, let me continue because I'm getting off track. The 1960s, after the 1960s, Jim Crow ended it, right? Now, remind you, we became citizens. We started to move up in the world to somewhat extent, right? Somewhat extent. Just from off that little bit in the 70s, our people, throughout everything we've been through, we was able to still rise up. We got Black Wall Street, all of these different things that we did, right? Tore down. Coming the 70s, we was like the best that we could be. And then guess what we get hit with? The war on drugs. Fucked our people up. Crack cocaine. When that shit hit, it was awful. We was just rising up, elevating. And just from that, they said, no, we gotta stop him. We gotta stop him. All these drug dealers that they put out here in the streets, they gave them the drugs. to put this shit in our communities. The government was behind all of this shit. They was behind it all. Y'all seen in the movie Clone and Tyrone on how they clone all of the people in the societies that played a role in the society that had an effect on the people. They didn't clone the people that didn't have an effect. They cloned the major players, the pastors, the drug dealers. They didn't clone the prostitutes. All the top people that can have a major influence. All these drug dealers that was on the street, Rick Ross, Big Meech, all these big people. I don't care what nobody said. Y'all was working with the governments. They said it was a matter of national security. The mission was to stop the rise up of our people. So they hit our asses with drugs. This caused massive incarceration, caused a gap in our families. A lot of our men went to prison. We was just closing the wealth gap between whites and blacks. They couldn't have that. They didn't want us rising up and making as much as they was making. So just like they did with Black Wall Street, they always hit us with something to enforce white supremacy. Now, in the early 1900s, it was like, I would say, before I jump, let's go to the 80s and the 90s, go back to that. In the 80s and the 90s, they had a worldwide test on our people. They were testing the children, pulling them out of the schools, not people from that worked for the school, right? They weren't a part of the school staff. It would be people that will come in testing on the young folks, right? Testing their cognitive skills, testing their sensory skills, right? I'm gonna tell y'all what I know for a fact happened to our people at that time and why stuff is so fucked up now with our people. And I've been talking about this. If you've been listening to me, you know this has been one of my main topics. They started cloning our people. They started cloning them. Now, Bobby said in the 90s, no, they started cloning way before then. If I wouldn't have did as much as research as I have, I would have continued to say the 90s. But they've been cloning way before the 90s. Now, after Jim Crow, right? Let me go back. I'm going to read some stuff off to y'all from what I have come across. And this is universal information, and you can find this shit. It's a program that was called Gifted and Talented Education, GATE programs, the eugenic programs. Yes, the 90s, the Cabbage Patch Children. But I'm gonna touch on that. It ain't just the Cabbage Patch Children. Or you can call that the Cabbage Patch Children, which is cloning melanin. But they wasn't fully prepared to start dropping melanated people just yet, creating them. They mastered that shit. Melanin, cloning artificial melanin. And I believe that's why Bobby said the 90s, when they start cloning black folks, melanated folks. But before then, they were already creating hybrids and clones of other races of beings. which was their kind. Okay? They were already creating them and putting them out into society. Okay? So, hold up says, peace, peace. We have a lot of solar activity. The sun is literally popping. Ends to the beginning. Yes. Okay, so they were already cloning themselves. The mission was to create a superior bloodline. Okay? Now, this was introduced to the United States in the early 1900s. Okay? And this was brought about through a British scientist. Okay? But it was implemented by the Nazi Germans. They implemented the massive eugenic programs. Okay? Now, the goal was to create a master race by preventing inferior people from reproducing. Okay? Their goal was to achieve racial purity, leading to sterilization and murders of millions deemed unfit, including those with disabilities and minorities, all under the disguise of improving the Aryan race. Okay? So, understand that these eugenic programs was introduced to our schools in the 80s and the 90s. But this came about going towards the end of the 1800s, coming over into the early 90s. So they was cloning in the 1800s, towards the end of the 1800s, coming over into the early 90s. Okay? They didn't start the testing into the 80s and 90s in the schools. Now, the eugenic programs was called the Gifted and Talented Education, which was GATE programs involving unusual IQ tests, the IQ testing, patterns, words, associations, and sometimes even alleged psychic style tests like symbols, having you looking at different symbols and shapes, hearing strange tones, beeps, administered by non-school personnel. Okay? The psychic test was to test you with symbols, but they also was testing if you can astral project and testing your psychic abilities. Also checking your sensories to see if you can tap into frequencies. Now, understand that the eugenic was used to alter, these eugenic programs was used to alter the frequency of various human phenotypes. Okay? So once again, they want you hearing tones and beeps. These frequencies was triggering certain things in our people. Okay? They were triggering certain things in our people. Okay? So now, understand, it says the phenotypes. The goal was to alter the frequency of various human phenotypes by inhibiting the fertility of those who were inferior. The Nazis weaponized these programs. Okay? Now, what is inhibiting? Inhibiting means to restrain, slow down, or to prevent an action, process, or growth either through external forces like laws and drugs, which goes back to the war on drugs, or internal psychological factors like fear and whatnot. So the drugs, which was the drug on wars, the war on drugs, understand what the drugs did to our people mentally, physically, and spiritually. You understand? It reduced the activity of cells, organs, and create infections in the body. These drugs, sterilization, all right, mess you up from the inside out. The goal was to stop us from reproducing. Okay? Because we was looked at as inferior. The whole goal, they have been trying to take us out since they've been on this land. We have known that. But the goal says, I broke that machine twice. But the goal is they have been, their goal has been to try to create a superior bloodline, right? But also to create clones of our people that was inferior. Okay? Now, the eugenic program gained traction in the United States in the early 1900s. By 1910, it was an organization called the American Breeders Association pushing for legislation to promote superior blood and identifying inferior individuals through mental and physical testing in schools to guide the educational tracking and control reproduction. So y'all, listen. 1910, it was a large network existed promoting laws to encourage good stock and prevent bad stock. That's clones. This is eugenics here. With testing becoming a tool to classify children for different life paths, linking intellect, and physical traits to perceived social worth. They, y'all, we've been a part of it. Y'all, we've been a part of an experiment the entire fucking time. Y'all, I gotta look. This is a lot. We've been part of an experiment the entire time. They have been trying to stop our people from day one since they stepped on this damn land. We have not had it easy from day one. We have been fighting and fighting on our land, trying to survive. Okay? This is a spiritual thing, but it's also a physical thing. They've been trying to break our people more than one way. Okay? And one of them is cloning our people. Now, understand that after the drug on wars, our people have not been able to fully bounce back from that. Understand, we as a people, we wasn't violent towards one another. We wasn't killing one another. We weren't doing all of those things to one another. We was more in unity than we have ever been back then. Okay? And they saw that in the 70s. They saw how our people was rising up. And that put fear in them. So they started cloning, creating Cabbage Patch children, dropping them off into communities, filling them up inside these adopted centers, adopting these children out. Okay? Trying to also not just, they wasn't just testing to see how their clones was coming along. This testing that was happening in the schools, they was testing to see who was the chosen ones, who had the Christ bloodline, who came from the divine feminine, the mitochondria, supreme mother, which is the melanated woman, the goddess. They was checking to see who had the royal genetics. But they also was testing to see how they clones were coming along in society. To see if they was coming up to par. They just weren't checking to see who was the chosen. They killed two birds with one stone. People weren't paying attention to it. Y'all think that they was just testing y'all to just be testing y'all? No, they was testing not just to see who was the Christ, but they was testing their projects. That's why it was called the eugenic screening, to identify the feeble-minded, the defective, or the delinquent children. They was checking up on their goddamn experiments at the same time, trying to figure out who is who. Y'all notice after the war on drugs had to hit our community, You had all of these, you know, massive incarcerations of our people. Prison was like one of the main places where they was cloning a lot of our people. Black Wall Street killed off so many of our people. It's whole towns that went disappearing in this motherfucker. They don't talk about it. But when you look it up, it'll pop up. Ask yourself, what did they do to them people? They cloned them and put them back out into society. If y'all listen to the master teacher Bobby, he talks about this. And I had to do my research to figure it out for myself. And the spirit keep bringing me back to this. It's because we have not we have not had it easy, not one bit, being under the elite. They've been trying to take us out one way or another. So this whole time, they've been behind closed doors cloning our people. And it ain't just our people that they clone. We was the hardest ones to clone because we're talking melanin here. They gotta create an artificial melanin. So it took a little longer for them to clone us. But they got it now. They got it down now. So all of these people you see on TV, these celebrities, these people are Cabbage Patch children, test tube children, genetically modified. Groomed from birth to be in the positions that they are in. A lot of these people are a lot of them are family because they come from probably one woman that bred them. Because you got just breeders. They had a program in 1910. It was an organization called the Breeders Association. Ask yourself, who was those? Who was they breeding? They just had women in there putting babies in them, clones. And they just breeding children, slapping them inside of these adopted centers. And y'all wondering why they got a thing called adopted centers. And all these children need someone to be adopted and a family to be adopted into. They getting paid to get these children. These ain't normal fucking children. Yeah, they being breeded like food. They created these adopted centers so you wouldn't think that it was, that nothing went up. But a lot of these Cabbage Patch children are placed inside these adopted centers. Or you can call them experiments or whatnot. And they get adopted off into society. You wouldn't even know. So you have we're dealing with a lot of soulless beings that literally have no soul. They're empty seaters. And this is why our brown folks are so messed up today, because a lot of them are cloned out. You would think that our people would be way much more farther than what they are. You understand? Spiritually, physically, and mentally. The reason why you got the churches so full of people is because a lot of them are programmed and cloned out. Their program is to specifically be where they are at. They're stuck at a certain consciousness, and this is why a lot of people is not going to elevate because they can't, because it's in their program to be at a certain frequency. Keep in mind that the eugenics was used to alter the frequency of various human phenotypes. So the goal was for them to bring down certain frequencies in certain phenotypes. So you see the church full of melanated people still today, and we're in the age of Aquarius, and they're still in the church. Understand that a lot of these people, the reason why they can't, their circadian rhythm, which is their internal clock, can't turn on, is because they've been turned off from the beginning. They were created to be at a certain frequency. They was created with a certain consciousness. They don't have a soul, which the soul is the black dot. That's the true melanin, which is the higher form of cosmic technology, which allows you to reach higher states of consciousness. They don't have the luxury of neural melanin in the brain, which is the vehicle of consciousness and soul. Okay, so this is the movie The Island showed it all. Right, so this is what we're dealing with, and this is why I have to go back into history. I'm like, okay, you had all of this stuff that took place with us. You had the Civil War, the Second War that took place, World War II that took place. You had us become citizens of the United States, woo woo, and then we started to, actively pursue education. We started to form churches and engage in the politics. We faced white supremacy backlash, violence through the KKK and whatnot, and systematic racism. We dealt with the black codes, systematic, voter suppression, but ultimately it led to us having a second class status, but still, you understand, still we maintain the rise up. You understand, like the phoenix, the phoenix from the ashes. That's us. That's our story. That lets you know who has a soul and who don't. And this is why, after they hit us with the Jim Crow to enforce white supremacy, okay, and the violence on our people, they saw in the 70s, God damn it, we started to take off. It was whole cities coming up missing, y'all. We got to go back into history to understand why stuff is so strange now. So they went to wiping our people completely out, wiping us out, cloning us, putting us back out into society. You want to know why the prison's so full? They intentionally hit us with the war on drugs because they knew a lot of our people was going to fall for the bait. They took so many of our men down, separated so many black families. Shit hit this. We still fighting to try to come back from that. And that happened in the 80s and the 90s. They started hitting us with clones in the 80s and the 90s. And we wonder why our people so messed up. Them people have been cloned and set back out into society. They put out these movies, Cloning Tyrone, and I use Cloning Tyrone as a reference video because it's the most recent video that we have that shows you that they cloned all the drug dealers that played a role in the war on drugs. The CIA, all of them was behind it and act like they didn't have nothing to do with it. But how did the drugs and shit get in the community? Even the war on guns. How did it get there? And they were in our communities, in the minority communities. They covered up their tracks. The CIA, they was behind that shit. And all of these drug dealers and some of them that just recently got out not too long ago, a couple of years ago, some of them still locked up. They was a part of the program too. How can you hit your people with this kind of drugs and fuck up your own community? Anybody that love their people is not finna roll with the white man, all right, to be deaf to their community, to their own people. They showed you in Cloning Tyrone that they cloned out all the drug dealers. That's why Tyrone kept getting cloned to put back into society. He was helping work to keep the people down by giving them drugs, dumbing them down, dumbing their DNA down, dumbing their genetics down. Causing their cells to become inactive. making their organs fail, giving them drugs, dumbing down their mind, killing them from the inside out. They helping the government. They helping the elite. So yeah, they finna give them the drugs. But it's the price to pay. We finna give you these drugs. You gonna put this shit out into the communities. But if you get popped, you gonna have to do the time. But when you get out, you gonna be set. I make sure you set while you in there. All of these drug dealers they make movies off of, man, come on now. Big Meech, oh, come on now. Like, come, truth is in the pudding, yo. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't become kingpin without being allowed. They allow this shit. They create the problem and try to create the solution. But they behind the whole thing. And then when the shit hit the fan, you won't see, don't nobody know what the fuck going on. Y'all know exactly what's going on because you behind it. I'm going to tell you like right now, the FBI, the CIA, the government, the presidents, all of these motherfuckers, the president behind the president, they can tell you that they don't know some shit. These motherfuckers know everything. Because they hands is in it. They play dumb to us. Act like they don't know what the fuck going on, but they the main reason for the season. They behind it all. You said the people in the prisons is in the jail cells unlawfully. Yeah, a lot of them in there. And another thing too, we got another war on drugs again. And I'm bring it out to y'all. You know, we had the opioid situation, we had all of that, right? But now, look what they legalized. They trying to find any old way, fuck our people up. Marijuana. You got all these dispensers. They got it patented now. Now it's legal. But remember, they was hitting our people up and they was hitting them with the harshest time over marijuana. Then when the crack hit the scene, white boy get hit with it, get a lesser time. But let one of our people get caught with crack cocaine, okay? Which was real dominant in the black communities and the powder was dominant in the white communities. But let them get caught with it. They was getting life sentences. This shit was done by design. Y'all say y'all ended slavery was abolished in 1865. No, we went into institutionalized slavery. That's what our people need to understand. We're still dealing with the systematic form of slavery. They just made it look all cute and sophisticated. But we're still dealing with a form of slavery. It's just systematic now. So they've been on our asses, y'all, from day one since they came on this land, trying to find ways to eliminate our people. And we kept rising up through the ashes on their ass, okay? Because we are primordial divine beings. They've been trying to find some way also to stop us from tapping into higher consciousness. That, they can't prevent that no more. And they know that. So this is what, now next, we head into a World War III. That is what's next because now ain't no turning back the clock. No, we're 2020 vision in this bitch all day. Because they done did all what they can do. They done cloned our people out, a lot of our people and whatnot. And that still ain't stopping us. But it just made things a little harder. Because a lot of our people don't understand that you see all of this stuff happening with brown folks, but you got to understand that just because they skin folk don't mean they kinfolk. And we got to get out of that. Because a lot of these people been replaced a long time ago. So you got clones that can reproduce. They can have children. And these children, the more children that they have, these clones reproducing these families, they get more and more mental. The clone become lesser and lesser and lesser. That's why crime is at all time. We're dealing with clone wars. They showed you in Star Wars trilogy, how they cloned the Jedi, and they had millions of them. Not the original, but millions of cloned Jedis to go against the real one. And y'all wonder why our people can't unite. They ain't finna unite. And we got to get that out of our head too. There is no uniting with our people. Because our people, a lot of them ain't our people. They just look like us. But they soulless and they're clones. This is some Aleister Crowley was, if you are into Aleister Crowley books, Aleister Crowley was also into the same thing with creating a hybrid race of beings of them that can withstand their expiration date, that can withstand the sun. And they believed in doing certain rituals under the moon at certain times of the night, at certain times of the day, or whatnot, that they could create a hybrid type of being. So this has always been in a part of their plan to try to create a superior bloodline, but also try to create inferior melanated people. Okay? That's a conflict of interest. Because you create inferior melanated people, they gonna go against us. Our own people gonna go against us. And that's exactly what they did. And we wonder why we fighting one another. Because they look like us, they ain't us. Oh, they definitely want to beat they death clock. But the thing is they have an expiration on them because they're clones. They're more a superior form of a clone than the clones that they've been creating today. Because how they were created through alchemy. Okay? So they was able to live a little longer. And now they've been trying to find a way to surpass the expiration date. Okay? So, and this is what they've been doing. So this is what this eugenic program stuff is all about. And when I looked it up, I said, I gotta go back. The spirit was like, go back to history and study what happened in the 80s and the 90s. Because the war on drugs was a pivotal point in history, just like it's a lot of other pivotal point in history that have pivotal things that happen in history to our people. But you gotta go back to that. Because we was rising up in the 70s. And they said, no, we couldn't have that. So I wanted to come on here and share that with y'all because this is what we are dealing with. Yep, the robotoid synthetics, the Mach 5s, transhumanism. But you already know transhumanism. We just got hit with transhumanism in 2020 when they hit the world with the jambalaya in the urn. So you got a lot of people that ain't even considered human anymore because of the jambalaya that went inside the urn with the parasite. Okay? So this is why it is very important to investigate before you navigate sleeping with people because now, you know, um, things can be spreaded through sex. Like, we already know herpes and different things can, but the things that was inside the shot, like the parasites, can now be transferred through sex. So if you never had the COVID shot and you are intimate with somebody, they can pass it through sex. Okay, so stuff is wicked. And also parasites is passed through sex. So, yes, we are definitely the original blueprint And they are trying to definitely mess up our carbon blueprint. That's what they're trying to do, mess up our carbon blueprint and our connection to the stars. They're trying to stop that connection, and they're trying to lower our frequency. And this is what eugenics was all about, was to alter our frequency. Okay? Understand frequency is important. The 144,000 frequency is the code to break the matrix. If they can alter our frequency, that means that they alter the DNA, they alter our akasha. Understand DNA is also considered the soul. So if they can mess with that and alter with that, you know it's a major problem. They put it in these movies all the time that they can transfer consciousness over to another body. You got all of these different movies showing you about these different skins, these clones, how they can move from one consciousness to the other. That's why I told y'all, the people that been ruling, been ruling forever. Why? Is because they have the ability to change bodies. They done mastered cloning. So they jump from one body to the other. So, yes, they have been fighting up against the Great Mother for a very long time and the chosen ones. Okay? And understand that the divine feminine, which is the melanated woman, she is the representation of the Great Mother in the physical. Okay? And she carries the royal bloodline, which is the mitochondrial DNA or DEA. All right? So if they can clone her, they can stop the royal bloodline from producing the Christ seed. And that's what that also been about. Okay? If they can clone the melanated man, they can stop the seed. So a lot of these people is going into these prisons and coming out totally different. Prison is the hub of eugenics. It says, so as a people, what do we do in this and how do we protect ourselves? The goal is you got to keep elevating. You have to. Because the more you elevate, the higher frequency you become, the less you are fucked with and can be touched. And also staying out of places where you know you should not be. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Just like you got a lot of these people want to become famous so bad. And they want to tap into a different bracket of money. They want to tap into, a different tax bracket. Not understanding the higher you get up, the more things that you're going to see and experience. And you're going to get your hands into some shit that you wish you never did. Okay, because that entertainment world, the TV world, entertainment world, those are all Cabbage Patch children. They all been groomed to be in that position. And a lot of our people try to get up in there and they're not a part of them bloodlines. They become sacrifices or they get cloned out themselves. Okay, so just like how there's not too many animals on the on this plane of existence anymore, there's not too many real divine beings on this earth anymore. The collective is not too many of us collectively. So we gotta continually to keep staying, tuned in and keep elevating our frequency, because at the end of the day, like I told y'all, this matrix that we're in is collapsing, but it's also become a mosh pit of demons, spirits, clones, um, 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 Mach 5 beings, transhumanism beings, robotoid synthetic beings. This realm is becoming so artificial. This is why the food ain't what you think it is. A lot of the food is fake. A lot of the food is GMO. They're not making it for us divine beings. They making it for the clones that will fit their bodies. They're not real, so they don't get sick and messed up as we do. You know what I'm saying? Their bodies break down faster, but it don't affect them like it affects us. Okay? So this is why we do have to raise our frequency. And the sun, yes, the sun is popping off, which is what's going to cause a lot of these clones and these different type of creations to start malfunctioning, because it's the frequency that the sun is sending out. It's sending out high frequency, and a lot of these beings, they are vibing at a low frequency. They were created on a low frequency, so their program is a low program frequency. So when that sun really fully get to going, you're gonna see more chaos on this earth, because these beings is not going to be able to malfunction up under high frequency. It's going to cause them to go haywire. This is why you got people killing one another, children killing their parents, the parents killing their children. It's the clones malfunctioning, because anybody with a soul, we don't act like that. We're more in tune. We have more self-control. You understand? When they spaz out, they don't have no self-control. A lot of them, when they snap, they just snap. They don't have a cut-off switch, because they were made and modified to be that way. Um, Somebody said people should see from birth all that shit is fake. What all stuff is fake? Stay out of these damn hospitals too. Exactly, because the hospital is a hub too for taking your organs and for killing you, because they want your organs. Because we know that organs is expensive on the market, in the black market, and they need your organs to understand that we are what you consider the resource, and they are living up off of us melanated beings. They need your melanin. They need your neuromelanin. They need your organs, your heart, your teeth, everything. You understand? Teeth has a lot of melanin in them. Ask yourself what they do with your teeth in the dentist office. Y'all better start asking for your damn teeth. Where you think it's going? We've been the resource the whole time. This is why they found out how to create artificial melanin. Because they need an endless supply of it. And they're trying to use it also to get out this plane of existence. But they're not going to be able to get anywhere, because in order for you to exist outside of this matrix, you got to have melanin. And I mean the real intelligence, cosmic melanin, which is a highly formed technology. You got to have a soul to get up out this mud. No matter how much melanin that you hibernate, it's not going to open up no portal for you to walk through and go to what they call the realms of alchemy, which is the realms of melanin. You're not going to make it there. No matter how much you do. Why you think they're trying to hibernate so many of our melanated people? They said, fuck it, we going to create an artificial form of melanin. Try to see if that'll work. Because a lot of our people is catching on to what the hell that they are doing. All these people coming up missing, our sisters and brothers coming up missing every year. And we talk about this all the time. You never really hear about it. All these children you see that's missing. You walk up in Walmart and different food places and you look up on the board and you see all these children just missing. Where do you think the hell that they going? This is why right now we need to be watching our nieces, our nephews, and our kids. Be overly protective. I don't give a fuck if they don't understand. Watch their asses. Because people out here sick. And we not dealing with ordinary ass people. So having sex passes what was in a jab. Yes, it's no telling what's happening to the non-jab body. If they have been in sexual contact with a jab, detoxing ain't gonna help. Because the only thing that would have helped for those who got the jab, if you started to detox right away and you know, realize that you came in contact with somebody that took the jab, you can immediately start to the detox and clear out your body, right? Of those different type of metals and clear yourself from those parasites. But the thing is, if you was unaware that you participated in a sexual act with somebody that had the jab and you let that sit, the longer it sits, it gets to your DNA and it starts to change your DNA and alter your DNA. And when it alter your DNA, it ain't no going back from your DNA being altered when you just let it sit. So, yes, but remember, it's not just the parasite that was in the jab. Okay, you had other different type of, you had every disease you can think of that was in that jab. And it was also technology inside the jab. So we're not just talking about a parasite that was in it. You had nanotechnology that was inside of it, okay, that will lock to your cells to help activate the diseases and activate the technology in the body to reconstruct the DNA, to turn you into a transhuman. So it ain't just the parasites you got to get out. It's the nanotechnology. You got to do a metal detox and get that stuff up out of you. And this is why if you let it sit, if those nanobots get in there and they get to working and they alter the DNA before you can kick them out of your system, it's pretty much a wrap. Because once your DNA change, you can detox after and kick them out, but your DNA is going to be forever changed. Yeah, the graphene oxide, yep, is nanotechnology. Here's the thing. I got this book on cure coming and I cook with it all the time. Cure coming is important for neuromelanin in the brain, which is the central nervous system. And when you take this, it also eliminates parasites too. But it allows the neuromelanin to work and to reproduce and to do the things that it needs to do, which allows the body to push out parasites. And it cleanses your system. So get y'all some cure coming. I'm talking about pure cure coming and cook it and everything. Okay. Um, at my place here, they caught on to what Cure Coming was because they used to have pure Cure Coming in there. And when I went back a year after, they didn't have pure Cure Coming in there. They had turmeric and it was 5% Cure Coming. Okay, so I advise y'all get a hold of some medicinal properties because they are key to clearing out your system and start cooking with these herbs every day. A lot of these herbs you can't taste, they just be in the food. And so I cook with Cure Coming all the time. Um, I cook with that all the time. So I would say invest in medicinal properties is very important to clear the body out. But yeah, once that DNA get changed, it's pretty much a wrap. And this is why you had different doctors either quitting or they were getting killed. Y'all don't remember around the time when that stuff hit, you had people dropping from buildings. They were killing themselves because a lot of people was threatened or either killed because they put out the information on what was in the jab. Y'all don't remember that? It was so many people coming out exposing it. You had people quitting their jobs because they didn't want to be a part of what was happening. And then we already know it takes a while for you to come up with a cure. They had that right away. You understand? And when people started taking it, y'all notice how people was dropping dead. Yeah, because they knew what was going on, so they quit. They quit because they didn't want to be a part of, they didn't want that blood on their hands, killing the people like that. And as a doctor, your job, if you are a genuine, real loving and caring doctor, your job is you want to help and try to cure people. You ain't trying to kill them. But you got a lot of doctors, they're there. They're not there to help you, but they're there to either pacify the situation, or some of them will kill you because they get paid for it. And I'm just keeping it raw. I'm keeping it raw. Can't trust them. That's why when I go under, if I have to go under, I always ask the ancestors and the great mother to protect me, and whoever is doing work on me to touch their hands when they are working on me, and make sure that their mind is in a good place, their spirit is in a good place, and they know what they are doing. Because there's a lot of these doctors out here is not for the good, for the right reasons, and we hear about them all the time. That's right. Yeah, nurses too. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Yeah, it says getting sick quick and then bam, they done transition. Exactly. Exactly. We supposed to be our own doctors and our own healers. And this is why we have to get back to medicinal properties. But the thing is, a lot of this food that we're intaking that's fake, and a lot of this GMO stuff, and a lot of the stuff that we're breathing in based off our environment, and all of these factories and different organizations that they have in different communities. You got all of these electrical appliances and different things in the community that affects you. You understand? And that's what causes sicknesses too. Your microwave in your house can cause sicknesses. The electricity, the radiation. So honestly, we being bombarded every day with some kind of some kind of sickness. You understand? And a lot of times our sicknesses is frequency based. Viruses frequencies. If you ever looked at what a virus look like, have you ever looked at it? Got to look like a little ball and got the little things coming out of it. Yeah. Hold on. I got something that I wanted to share. Hold on. A little virus look like a whole little frequency. The viruses ain't nothing but frequency. If your frequency low, you mess around and get sick. And that's why when you're sick, you got to raise your frequency, and you'll notice how the sickness will leave. So a lot of illnesses and sicknesses is based off frequency. Even STDs, diseases in the body, HIV, AIDS is all low vibration, is all the low frequency. That's why anything can be healed. You just got to raise that frequency up. Frequency is important. This is why through eugenics, the goal was to alter our frequency. It says, who do you think created clones in the first place to go against the original people? Our enemies. Our enemies. Understand that the so-called Slavic man was created by African ancient people. Okay, they call it the Anunnaki. It's based off the Rosicrucians. Said it was the ancient African people that went rogue and they created them. That's the story of Yakub. It's even in the Bible on how the cloning process went in the beginning in Genesis. It got a breakdown and talks about the animals, but the animals represents the Slavic man on how he came about. So understand they are even a part of an experiment that gone wrong, that went wrong. And this is based off the Rosicrucians teaching. They stated that when they created the Slavic man, which was the white man, was that was an experiment that went bad. You understand? And you ask yourself, well, why didn't they immediately eliminate the experiment? Instead, you had the Moors come in, and this is where you get all of the schools from that was set up over in Europe, the colleges, and over in Grenada. Okay, that's why when the Moors was over there for 700 to 800 years, they was over there trying to civilize the white man. They were civilizing the white man. They were teaching them all of the ancient knowledge, all of the astrology, the science, everything you could think of, mathematics. They taught them everything. And they turned around and used that shit as trickology on our people. You understand? But it was the Moors who taught them to raise their creation up to par, to bring them to a certain frequency. And understand everything goes back to frequency. To raise them up to par, because when they created this Slavic man, they created an imbalance in the universe. Okay? Because they didn't fit in with the rest of the world because they were clones. They were inferior, right? Their consciousness wasn't up to par. They didn't know nothing. They were like vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Unaware. They ain't even know how to wash their own ass. They ain't even know how to brush their teeth. You know what I'm saying? They was hairy. Their ancestors is the Neanderthals. You understand? So understand, these is your cave people that didn't know shit, an apple from a rock. They was dumb. Yo, Dumb and Dumber. So the Moors was over there trying to educate them and trying to also fuck them out of existence. They were sleeping with them. There was the African Moors. They started cohabitating with them and mixing with them, which created a whole demographic of new people, which was half indigenous and half hybrid. Okay? They was also considered Spaniard Moors. The Spaniards was the Slavic man. Okay? So they had to educate them, and they built these universities to educate them, to bring them up to a certain frequency and a certain consciousness. All right? So that they can fit in with society. Yep, in the Chrome, yep, Magnum. Yeah, they couldn't even walk upright. That's where you get the original walking on all fours, because a lot of them used to walk on fours like dogs. That's why they love dogs so much, because they were once like that. That's why a dog is the white man's best friend. If you ever see how white people act over dogs, they love their dogs, and I ain't got a problem with that. But you see how they take care of their animals. You understand? They got health care and everything, right? Better than human. They make sure that they dogs be together. You hear me? So, yeah, so they mixed in. Yeah, yep, that's right. Yep, they are, a lot of them genetically did mix in with these animals and stuff, because understand, that's where you get bestiality from, because they was on the frequency of animals. So they didn't think that they were different from the animals. They didn't know that they thought they were animals too. So a lot of them were sleeping with sheep and different animals and dogs and stuff. That's where bestiality come from. The cave people, they started that because they didn't know they were any different from animals. They was doing the same thing as animals was, because they got animal nature. They have animal. They are what you would call the upright walking beasts. Okay? Because they have animal. So, and that's just this is based off history though. This is based off history. Um and what a lot of the master teachers have spoke on. It's in a lot of different books. So if people tend to get offended, you got to go read these books. So I'm not here to offend anyone. This is universal knowledge that anyone can actually come across. Yeah, we the real beast. The beast 666 is the physical body. That's what that is. The beast represents the physical body. The shell that you are in. That's what it represents. The beast is the body, the animal body. And we have the animal body. We have a form of the animal body. That's why we have to raise ourselves up and get out of our animal mind, which is the root chakra, which is the animal consciousness, to raise ourselves up to our God mind. Okay? Because you got a lot of people, they're stuck in the animal chakra or what you would call the root chakra. Okay? They can't rise up from that. And a lot of these beings, they can't rise up from their root chakra. They're stuck in the animal consciousness, which means they can't never reach higher states of consciousness. They're stuck at a certain frequency. Some might be more advanced than the others, but they can't go past a certain chakra. This is why they can't reach higher states of consciousness because they don't have a soul, which the soul is the one that crosses over. The soul is the portal. It's the gateway. Okay? The soul is the black dot. It's the portal. All right. And the black dot is what Christ consciousness entered through. Yes, they can't go past the waist. Some of them can get up to the heart chakra, but they can't cross over because they ain't got a soul. You got to be able to cross the rainbow bridge. The rainbow bridge, the Care Bear bridge, which is the rainbow bridge to get you to the heavens, the Asgard, which is the heavens, the higher consciousness is what I call it. You got to be able to cross over. The heart chakra is the illuminated realm, which is the bridge to the higher dimensions of consciousness. And if you can't cross the heart chakra, it's a wrap. And it take a soul to be able to do it because the soul got to get back to the pineal gland, which is the seat of the soul. Solomon got to make it back to his home, to the throne. Okay, the queen must rise. And the queen is the great mother, which is Sophia, Isis, Parthena, Lilith. Okay, that's all analogies of the soul. And the queen represents the soul, the nation represents the body. And so the queen must rise up and get back to her throne, which is the soul. This is why the great mother, she is key to this whole thing because she represents the soul. She is the analogy of your soul. And once she get back to the throne, all right, you have access. It's your consciousness becomes it's endless. You understand? You now you hit the realm of infinity, and that's what they are in fear of, because once we start tapping into the pineal, which is the bridge to the spirit world, we have access to all the primordial information, past, present, and future. The now. We have everything and ain't nothing that we cannot know. We come omni. Yep, the pineal gate is the black sun, but here's the thing. The black sun is the pupil. It's also the pupil. This is why when you look somebody in their eyes, what do you see? You see the black sun. They say the eyes is the window to the soul. The soul is the black sun, baby. The soul, another name for the soul is called Mary, the Holy Mary. Okay, the black sun represents the great mother. When you look into somebody's eyes, that's the window. You can the pupil represents the black sun. It's the soul. That's why they say the eyes is the window of the soul. Pupil means student. You here to evolve, the soul must evolve. All right? For you to turn back into the divine being that you are, the pineal gland, you see the pineal gland through the eye. That's the soul. And once the soul get back to the seat, the eyes is illuminated. This is why Christ in Revelations, Christ, his eyes was fiery. That's the soul. That's that kundalini in the body that has risen to the max. And it shows through the eyes when the body have become illuminated. When the soul is back, when the queen is back on the throne.
And he barrels right past me to a honey hive above the campsite. It's been there all along, and I hadn't seen it.
The pupil is the soul. That's the black dot. You can see the black dot through the eyes. You can see the life through the eyes. Because you can see right through to the throne. That's why they be like, it's just something about your eyes. You see God, baby. That's what you see. You just don't fully understand what you see yet. But you can see in the eyes that somebody is illuminated.
No, the chicken probably couldn't do this, but I'm not ruling anything out. I see. Is this one of the projects Simon was working on? No, what you see here is a red light therapy machine proven to increase testosterone. Did you know that men's sperm?
So if you saying you don't see no soul, I will relax and I will, cause maybe you don't know what to exactly look for, and I'm telling you what to look for. So try again tonight, and go back and look at it again. This time, close your eyes. Wait a minute, then open your eyes up and look at yourself. Sometimes I can see my spirit, my soul. You look at yourself, you mirroring yourself. And sometimes you can see glimpse of what you actually look like. You can even see sometimes your aura when it's illuminated, you're vibing at a high frequency because you're mirroring yourself. Understand when we take in the light in the spectrum, in this prism, okay, because we're dealing with a prison realm, okay, we take in the light. What do? We refract the light, which means we bend it, which creates an optical illusion. The halls of a mente means the halls of mirrors. So the reality that you are projecting is a reality that's coming from within. The halls of a mente is in the brain. It's the amenta tract that produces the neuromelanin. They call it the black halls, okay? Where the neuromelanin sit in the brain. All right. So when you project the amenta, which is what the Egyptians call the spirit world, you're projecting this reality, which is a mirror of the real world that exists within your mind. That's why they always say, get out of your damn mind because you in your mind. You got to wake up because you entrapped in your own damn mind. And you ever heard this saying, roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Because all this shit is an illusion. And you got to wake up because you in your own damn mind. And the reality that you projected is done other than the optical illusion. It's not the real world. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can tend to get a glimpse of the divine. You can see it. Because now you seeing it, you looking dead at yourself and you're mirroring yourself. So sometimes you can see that.
Don't be shy, fellas. Come check it out. Smoke. All electric, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. I guess that's...
Yes, everything is definitely, that's right. Everything is upside down. Absolutely. You're in the upside down world. This is why I be trying to tell people, watch Stranger Things. Because Stranger Things is telling you it got some stuff in there. And I think that people need to pay attention to it.
I'm right, yes. Okay, how about
We're in the upside down world. You're not in the real reality. This is all an illusion, and you're literally upside down. And when you upside down, guess what happens when you stay upside down for so long? It start to fuck with your mind, don't it? I can't be upside down for too long because see the blood will rush to my head, just like how it would do for many of us. It'll rush to our head. When the blood rush to your head, you get real crazy, wacky, start to go numb and can't even hear shit no more. Think about it being in this reality. You sit here for too long. Remember we talked about time, how the entity of time kills and destroys everything. And the longer you sit here in this time loop dealing with the entity of time, you start to get mental, right? Because think about it. You're upside down. You're going through a loop constantly over and over. And when you keep going through loops, right, just like how they say insanity is, you keep doing the same shit over and over, guess what it's going to be called what? Insanity. You're gonna be looked at as a crazy person, right? So think about it. We keep doing the same shit over and over. We upside down. What's gonna happen? You keep crashing up against the same damn wall, getting the same results. That's insanity. Same shit that's happening to us right now. So a motherfucker keep going through the same shit, experiencing the same loop, you're gonna go crazy if you don't get it. So being upside down all the time, blood rushing through your brain. You stay like that for too long, you start to can't hear shit. Shit start getting crazy. Shit, body start getting numb. Blood rush through your brain. You getting delusional. Shit start happening. That's what's happening in this realm. Motherfuckers is upside down. This is why if y'all see a lot of these scary movies, oh yeah, this is some deep shit. Y'all see a lot of these scary movies, y'all notice how everything when it comes to the evil is always upside down, right? Whenever it's coming dealing with an entity or something low vibrational, right? Everything is always upside down. The cross gets upside down, everything. You're in a low vibrational plane of existence. You're not in a higher dimension. This realm is full of goblins, elves, shapeshifters, different type of beings, right? Everything is upside down. Alice in the Wonderland told y'all that. I did a whole video on that, breaking it down how she fell through the black hole. This is why they don't want you never going to the center of the earth. Because the center of the earth is what they will call the Mount Meru or the black void where the black sun sit. The black hole.
I'm telling you, I wasn't there.
Your exit.
Thanks, Park.
But not physically. Because the only way you're going to get out of here is light body.
Quite the rap sheet you got here.
She had fell through the black hole and ended up, she went down
The joke.
upside down and came back upright. But the whole time she was in the upside down world. And when she went down in the upside down world, guess what she landed on? The damn checkerboard.
I was.
It's all big one goddamn game.
You think you're so smart? Well, I think my body.
That's why the Illuminati is always putting some stuff out in our face through these entertainers that's clones and different beings and species and whatnot. They always got a damn checkerboard in there. They letting you know what time it is. It's one big game. And if you don't wake up, you're going to continue to be a pawn on the board that they going to play. It ain't for our job to take over this realm. We got to get out of here.
Breakfast of champions. Okay, fast forward a bit.
Exactly. We literally flipped upside down. And this is why we got to elevate and get up out of here.
It's much later in the day.
We're stuck in a loop. And many is going crazy because they have not figured it out yet. Like they say, if you don't use your mind, you will lose it. Neuromelanin is supposed to be produced in the brain. The more you study, the more you spark those synapses in the brain and you allow your neurons to work, which is your angels or angles of light. You allow your brain to stimulate more parts of the brain. So that way you're not just messing around using just 75% of your brain. But the goal is to use 100% of your brain like Lucy did. That's why Lucy was able to exit out of the matrix and she turned to this big black blob, which was carbon, okay, melanin, and she exited out of the matrix. She went through different phases, different stages, okay, and she exited up out of here because she was able to use 100% of her brain. She got to a certain frequency where she became beyond this matrix, and that's the goal. She pulled an Enoch. She never experienced death. She just ascended. And that's another story of Enoch. Enoch didn't experience death, he just ascended.
There. Box 595. And check the list. Yep. You're not going to believe this one, Frank.
Yeah. He just ascended, and that's why I said you have two ways to exit up out of this matrix. You either die, which is inevitable, which is a part of this system. The program here is you have to experience death, right? To exit up out of here. Or you pull a Lucy and an Enoch and you will sin. Two ways.
They sat in Rome like this, built men like us, and birthed an empire.
Yes, everything is consciousness. That is a fact.
Yes, that's right.
Everything is.
Other people wouldn't get into that room.
But yes, y'all, I just had to go back. I know I probably started off a little slow with trying to break things down on the timeline of America going back to 1619, coming all the way up to 2026. But the spirit has been bringing me back to the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and the 90s because that was a very pivotal moment for our people. We went through a major transition at that time, and that affected our people and it changed us forever. It changed us forever because we lost so many people throughout the invasion of our land. So many of our people, you know, we lost them due to, you know, the wars and different things of not, and the war on our people. But the 80s and the 90s is when they hit us with the clones. And they put them out into society and mixed them in with our people. And so we need to keep that in mind that the testing that was being done, which was the eugenic screening, was to kill two birds with one stone. To see how their experiment was going, to see was they fitting in and elevating with the rest of the children, and they was trying to see who was the chosen one. It's just way too much. Others were should I say? Um, Once our people have been enslaved out of consciousness, it's bad for our people. People have been. Through it says flew through the sun and the sky turned into it, and I went. Great job, thank you. Just for sure, for sure. Sometimes I wonder if the original beings from other planets dealt with what us original beings are dealing with now. Um, Based off of some of the books that I have, um, this colonization is something that has been happening in a lot of the other worlds, what they call dome worlds or realities. They've been experiencing it too. They've been experiencing being colonized by these different beings. The book call them the Anunnaki and the custodians, but they have been going around colonizing different places. Okay, different dome worlds. But can I say have they dealt with what we have dealt with to this extent? I'm not for sure, but I do know beyond the ice wall, they do have a world that is called clone. Okay, um, and so we do know that they have been cloning over there too, doing some stuff over there. And we do know that they go in and out of the ice wall. Okay, so they definitely do business over there. And I always had this thought in my head that a lot of these people that we see as artists that we ain't never seen before, ain't really heard too much of stories on them. A lot of them are coming from the other side of the ice wall to work over here in this reality, to work over here in this dimension. They're entertainers. They come here, they're a part of cloning, and they come over here and they work till they die. They be in the game. Once you were part of the occult, or you are considered a Cabbage Patch child, or they bred you and brought you into existence, your mission is to make music until you can't no more. That's why if you notice a lot of these artists, they can't get out the game. They only way they can get out is through death. They reclone them and put them back out once they get on them contracts. That's a part of the program here in the Matrix. They're there to entertain you, to keep you entertained, to entertain your mind. Okay, that's all they are there to do. The lifestyle that they have, they got major sponsors. They ain't got money like that. They just make it look like that. They're clones. Of course, they're going to decorate up their projects and make the experiments look the best. You understand? But they're clones. They got handlers and everything in the industry.
This isn't one of your stories. Average civilian women don't suddenly solve crimes.
Oh, you read my book. What'd you think?
I think it's a fantasy. A woman puts on a wig.
Yeah, so yeah, they got handlers to watch them because remember, they are clones and they can have a malfunction at any given time. You got this glow gorilla, whatever her name is. Everybody talking about how she don't look the same. I don't think it's the same one. I think she's been replaced already. Just like K Michelle. They're like, oh, she got, work done on her nose. I'm like, yeah, a lot of these people been replaced. But it's the same K Michelle. It's just a different one. Yep, I definitely could recommend y'all some books. I will try to put some up tomorrow on the post. Bob Dylan, a perfect example. I noticed that too. A lot of them, I don't know. Yeah, you got all these new, different, weird people. You know what I'm saying, coming out of nowhere, and just my thoughts. They coming from the other side. From the other cloning facilities. They got a lot of these major cloning facilities that's underground. They're under hospitals. They probably even up under some of these churches. They some are everywhere. Like I said in Cloning Tyrone, I laughed about it, but when they walked inside the church, they showed you that the church was cloned out and that the church was had a doorway to the underground city. I mean, to the underground facilities that was cloning people. So they putting it out there in your face, even with the music, how the music can program you and put you up under some type of hypnosis. It can hypnotize you, understand? And look who making the music, these soulless clones. So if you spend too much time listening to their music, they can alter your frequency and get inside your mind and plant shit in your mind. Because a lot of that music, they do witchcraft and different things over the music. So certain music can open certain portals and doorways in your home. So listening to them is not always good to fully always just listen to them 24/7. Now to listen to them while you're working out, to do a few things, whatever, to get you pumping, that's cool. But a lot of people sit there and listen to that music. It's a ritual, it's religiously done every day. They bump up, lift, listening to Ride Wave. They go to sleep listening to Ride Wave. They know every word, every song. They go to his concerts. No, you a fanatic. Okay, you gone. You up under some type of possession. They got you, yo. You know what I'm saying? That music got you. But yeah, that junk it had me laughing when that juvenile son came on. They was up in that dance, and I said, man, I went to Holland. They was all going off that. I think they was doing the ritual for Jesus. They was drinking the blood. I think they was trying to get some. I think it was grape juice, but symbolically of them drinking the blood or whatnot, and them eating on bread, which represents cannibalism or whatnot. I think that they was drinking on the grape juice, but to let you know that they were full of spirits that was symbolic of them being, you know, they got spirits inside of them. They taking over type shit. They was in there all dancing and shit. I was like, man, these movies be having some shit in it.
Oh, let's not talk about work. Let's talk about play. Do you like jazz, Miss Biddy?
Like it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
they
like
hit and
music.
then look. Then I mean they hit every angle too on the movie too. They was showing you how they putting shit in the chicken. You had Jamie Foxx and old dude up there. They just eat next. They went to laughing and shit. Everybody in there laughing, and then look at the people that was selling the chicken. Symbolically, I can't even get it out. Symbolically speaking of the Jews, the little dudes with the little hair and shit, they represented the Jews and shit. And the Khazars, they run America. You know what I'm saying? They the ones control the industry and shit. The Jews. But yeah, that's who they represented, the Jews and
I
shit.
always said fighting's
And they
okay.
was the ones selling the goddamn chicken and shit. And they all in there eating the chicken and laughing and shit.
Take control of
They let you know that they put shit in the food and shit. So we know this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's something been talked about for years. But it's good to keep having these conversations to keep it fresh in your mind. Cause life tend to get to you and you tend to, shit slip your mind. So it's good that we had these conversations. Yeah, the Boondocks told us too. Boondocks, yeah, yep. I says, how can't they see that shit's fake? Says the movie Sinners, yes. The movie Sinners, yeah. They showed a lot. Oh my gosh. Let me share something with y'all too. Now, y'all, I got this book that's called it deals with psychology, right? And it got a lot of good stuff, and I'm gonna share some stuff out of there with y'all when I get done fully reading it. But in the book, it talk about these different entities, right? Just like how in Sinners, she called them Hanks, right? And she was like, yeah, we ain't messing around with no. She called them Hanks, and then she was like, we dealing with the worst kind, vampires, right? Now, if I know a lot of you follow the master teacher Bobby, right? Bobby, he had a lot of great stuff. There was nothing that I heard of him teaching that was wrong. This man has been on point about every single thing. Now, Bobby, he talked about the reptilians, right? And I'm starting to think that this man,
The investigative journalist, LA crime
he was so ahead of his time. But I questioned when he talked about the reptilians. But now my mind, I done expand so far on this stuff, and now I can go back and reevaluate it and see it in a different light. Bobby said everybody talking about these reptilians, right?
most probably thought. Only
But the reptilians ain't nothing but
appears
us.
to cause any
And he
distraction.
would say that.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just wait a slit eye minute. Shit. Hold on. I know we got the reptilian brain. We got the reptilian type of skin, the scaly skin. But hold on, the serpents and the reptilians is totally two different things. The Bible was like, everybody keep talking about them. And it ain't nothing but you. You the reptile. You the reptilian. So I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Let me just sit on this for some years. Right? Let me sit on this for a few years. Okay?
Game is dirty.
Let me just sit on it.
Involved with a silent death
Now,
murder. By the way, the
I have been digging into Norse mythology really heavy. And it's these movies, I think it's two movies out that's called Trolls. These big giants. And I went to digging into the Trolls, and the Trolls is connected into Norse mythology, right? And in the movie Trolls, they got some shit in there. So go watch the movies Trolls 1 and 2. Trust me, thank you later. So they got some shit in it, and I started to research. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. So they said the Norse mythology has a lot of information is connected to us. right? And I believe it because the stuff that I've been coming across. But based off the North mythology, you got these elves, right? You got dark elves and you got light elves.
For you, I really do. But I had to beat up
A
all
lot of them
those
can shapeshift,
daughters.
right?
You wouldn't have seen
And then you got a lot of these giants that they talk about in North mythology,
Excuse me. I'm tired.
and a lot of them is not technically giant beings. Not all of them are. You got some that are giants, and some of them are small, just like us, that fits in with us.
Slow down,
But
Sheriff.
they are called
This turkey needs a
Shocknors
forfeiting.
or something like that.
About 1,000
And it
more.
states that
Slow and
the eyes are like slits to
not messengers.
identify their animal nature. They got slits as eyes.
As long as you
Fucked me
don't
up, right?
make it cinema.
mine. I prefer it.
So I'm like, okay. In the movie Center, she talked about the Hanks and the vampires.
Not for a second.
And I'm like, and in this book that I have, they're not called reptilians. They're called something else. So I just said, out of all the knowledge that I know, and then I'm coming across more stuff, just what if, y'all? What if that what we've been dealing with possibly might not be the reptilians? And what if
Excuse the mess. I haven't
there's
had a
something
lot of
else?
sleep since my wife died.
Just what if? And I told my king this the other day. I said, babe, based off reading this book about psychology and how to deal with certain entities and spirits,
Like a cat.
right?
And then she died.
I'm coming across these different beings,
She was the sweetest.
and they're not reptilians.
She sounds like a saint.
But what if the reptilians is not the issue?
It would have been
What if this whole thing about these reptilians, just what if? I'm just throwing this out there to y'all. That the reptilians is just
It's quite a view you have.
a cover up
To the hills ever since I moved
for
here.
something else.
UCLA.
And we've been thinking that
I live here.
we're dealing with reptilians, but what if that ain't what it is? Demons for a fact, for sure. Low vibrational beings, for sure. But what if it ain't the reptilians? What if, just what if,
Here somewhere.
that's us?
And it's filthy.
I don't mind.
And what we're dealing with is something else. Okay, so I threw that out there. No, the mother, she is the dragon. That is, in fact, that's a serpent, though. We know that the serpent represents the great mother. That's all day, right? But based off my research, that the serpent and the reptilians is totally two different things.
It was fun to talk about.
The serpent is the dragon.
Would be unsanitary.
The serpent, it grows wings and it turns to a dragon. So indeed, I always state that we are the Nagos, we are the dragon people.
I'll hop right in.
That is a fact.
It's
That doesn't change.
Buster.
But what I'm coming across is changing up the game. Don't change that we are the dragons and that the mother is the serpent. That still is the same. But it's something about these reptilians. And I think Bobby Hemmett probably was hitting some shit on the nose that it was going over people's head. But guess who's gonna fully figure it out? I'm gonna fully figure it out. And I'm simplify the shit for even a baby to understand when I get to it and get a chance to break it down like I need to. But in this book, they're not called reptilians. Not at all. And if we are existing in a low dimension, we indeed is dealing with archons. They are called archons. Them are demons.
It's crazy.
Okay?
It's been a long time. I'm afraid I never
So,
forgotten how to kiss.
that's just something I want to throw out there. Maybe something for your research. Something you can look in and study as well. But when I get it, how I need it to get an understanding of it, I will share it again. And if indeed the reptilians is indeed just for reptilians, And that might be just another name for them. I'm going to find that out too. It's actually a good movie. Reptiles versus Dracos. Yes. The Draco, yep, the reptilians represent versus the Dracos. Yep, that is fact. Gang, it's a gang of them. They can't stop fighting, mother. You're welcome, Archons. Yes, indeed. Right, like I said, Bayou members are called Archons. No coincidence. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you. Oh, most definitely. So, it's something with these beings. It's something, and I'm gonna look into it because even I don't know if you guys are aware of. I think it's called. His name is called Muto or Credo or something like that. I think he was an African man, and he was interviewed by what's his name, David Icke or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. So it's a white man. Um, he was interviewed by him years ago. He told a story of him coming in contact with these skelly looking people, reptilian type. So I'm not knocking any of that. All of that is absolutely true. You know, it's just I'm coming across other stuff, and I like to connect the dots. Yep, that's what they are. Shaturis or something like that. Yep. Yep. Credo. Yep. 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 Him with the glasses. Yeah, but Cthulhu was another name for the Great Mother. Just for those, throw that out there for those who are not aware. Cthulhu was another name for her. The Leviathan. Yep. The Leviathan, the dragon. Yep. She is very much real. Yep. She has many names though. The Great Mother, she goes by many of them. But yes, there's many reptilian beings. There's different kinds. Beyond the ice wall, you have different places that's called Anunnaki, or either called Anunnaki, and it's a I believe it's a branch of them based off the books beyond the ice wall. They don't mess with us. They stay away from us. They don't bother us. They don't interfere in our affairs or anything. They just stay where they are at. So, in these ones, they are described as being the Anunnaki and the custodians, based off the book Beyond the Ice Wall. So I'm going to read this book and just figure out what this name is. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah. Credo. He actually said that they actually met them. Exactly. Yep. He actually got a chance to meet them and see them. He even described what they look like. Yep. So, but the thing is, it's a lot of beings that can shapeshift and look like different things. So we're dealing with a lot of different things. A lot of different things. The reptilians was considered as being a part of the dinosaur people. And you got to ask yourself what happened to them. What happened to the dinosaurs? They didn't die. They just became intelligent and knows what the reptilians basically they saying that is a part of their lineage. Like they come from that. They are the descendants of the dinosaurs, the reptilians. They swamp people. They live in the waters, and they live underground.
I was being framed. I needed to clean the crime scene. No body, no crime.
The book Beyond the Ice Wall. You can Google the books Beyond the Ice Wall. Um, a lot of books will pop up. All of them are good. Um, you will see it'll be a collection. When you look up books beyond the ice wall, it'll be like a collection of them. They don't cost that much. I can take some screenshots, some pictures of some covers and put them up. Like I said, I put some stuff up tomorrow on the books beyond the ice wall, but they don't cost much. You can get them as a collection, or you can buy them one book at a time. But trust me, once you start reading one of them, you're gonna run through that book real quick.
Mistakes. So that's how Davenport died. He didn't drive himself off a cliff. You did. Now you're getting somewhere, detective. Not before he spilled your secrets to that reporter. So you want to kill him.
Yeah, they ain't nothing but dinosaurs. They're just intelligent and they're smart.
Reporter and then drove himself into the ocean. Hell, I am. There's no
Yep,
escape, Trevor.
yeah. The book beyond the ice wall.
Won't be there to see what I have in store on New Year's Eve balls drop. Oh well, have a nice trip.
So when I get this information on these reptilians, I'm gonna share it back with you guys. If it comes down to reptilians just being reptilians, I'm gonna share that with you guys too. But I'm just what I'm coming across is that the reptilian might not be their name based off of what I'm coming across. They might be called something else other than reptilian. Reptilian could be a generic name, but it's very it's very big, and they've been getting talked about for a long time. I'll be looking forward to seeing your list. Oh, for sure. So yeah. Oh, definitely. There's some little badass kids, definitely for sure. Especially the the damn Anunnaki. Indeed.
Open the doors.
Oh, another thing too, y'all. I got some more stuff that I'm gonna have to wait till another time to come on here, but I have some stuff to share about the Anunnaki and the Mayans. I think it's the Mayans. Yeah, the Mayans. No, the Hopis. The Hopis and the Anunnaki. I came across some stuff on that, so I'm gonna try to share that with y'all next time I go live.
It's all because of me. I'll fix this.
Do me a favor, Frank. Lay low.
You got it. Thank you, Ed.
But yeah, y'all, I'm not gonna stay on here for too long. I just wanted to come on here and share some information with y'all, plant some seeds, get y'all thinking. Um, put some stuff out there so that y'all can, research, look some stuff up. You know, this is an enigma. We got to put the puzzles together. And like they say, each one, reach one, teach one is the goal. And that's what we want to do. And that's what we should do to continue to raise the frequency of our people. All right, y'all. Um, I will post some stuff up tomorrow of some books since I have come to the conclusion as well. You said you come to the conclusion that about the reptilians,
Speak in store tomorrow for New Year's Eve.
Raquel.
I bet it's whatever Simon was trying to warn us about.
What do you mean something fake?
I don't know. But people could be in danger.
I see.
Okay, good. All right, so I know I wasn't the only person thinking that. It's good to know that somebody else was thinking the same thing. What if the reptilians, what if that's not their name? What if we're dealing with something else and indeed they do have slits in their eyes and they do look like that? That's actually what they do look like. We got the being correct, but what if the name is different
So that's why you inserted
and we being bamboozled? Like we're looking in one direction, but it's actually something else. You understand? And that's why they say when you know a demon by its name, you have the power, you have the control over it. And this is why a lot of the demons, when they're being cast out of these spirits, they don't want you to know their name. We got to figure out if this is their real name. Figure out what they are. If they are really the reptilians. Okay, and if the reptilians is just a generic name. Is it or is it not? But make sure that we got the right being with the right name. Because, they'll tell us something and we looking left when we need to be looking right. And so that's how I'm always thinking outside the box. We've been talking about reptilians for years. But what if that ain't their damn name? What if they go by something totally different?
Where the internet comes from.
I was just trying to plug it into the electricity.
Now they might be expired. That means gone. No musical special. No Sander. No Spike. No Khadija.
And what if
No Daniel.
Bobby,
No.
as he's always 100% right,
Nothing.
that
I knew they were smart.
we talking about reptilians? We the reptilians. Well, who the fuck is these other things there? If we the reptilians, well, what is that? You get what I'm saying? If we are the reptilians, then what are they?
It's okay.
And who are they? What's their name?
Hello. Okay. I'll be right there.
Yes, we have to stay ahead. And me, I'm always, listening and paying attention. And that's one thing Bobby Hammond said that's it's been with me for years. And it's finally sitting on me now that what if we've been bamboozled? What if that ain't their name?
Off the books. We're on our way now.
Bobby like, y'all keep talking about the reptilians and shit and talking about these creatures and woo woo woo. We the damn reptilians. You talking about your damn self.
Normal pass.
And it didn't hit me until like the past few months. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it just kept going in my head, kept going in my head. And then I'm reading this book and I'm like, damn. And I go back to the movie Sinners, these different movies, and they had different names. And she was like, the vampires is the worstest kind. We have not been talking about vampires as much, but vampires has been a topic. What if they are just vampires and not reptilians? You understand what I'm saying? We got things mixed up.
Turn that up, please. That won't be necessary, nurse. Hello, Mr. Gustafson.
So we got to find out.
Your little plan, it didn't work out.
We got to find out. And I already broke down the Anunnaki. I already broke it down and got down to the bottom of it. Now, this right here, it speaks volume. And this is another thing, another code that I must crack.
Right. Tough guy, huh? You know what happens to big, pretty boys like
So I know for a fact that they are vampires. That's a fact. Yes. Right? But
I've seen it 100 times.
I need to know their name.
You'll be very popular. Or stay in. Probably have your mugshot
That's the
go
thing.
viral online.
I need to know what we up against.
Congrats, you're famous. Okay. And one day, your newfound army finds a legal loophole, and suddenly, you're free.
Because you got to think about it.
Not bad.
We know if you do research up on reptilians, they live for a long time, right?
Cards. Hello, intermittent fasting.
They live for a long time.
It's all broth
But
for you, baby.
listen to what I'm finna say though.
Sexy jailbird now. And he's all about body.
And this is what got me also thinking. You got all these celebrities, right?
Starving to death. But your brand is
That's been in the industry. But they also have stuff that are pictures of them years and years ago, right?
But you miss. You don't think of
Of the same people in pictures and different things.
farting guy
Weird shit, right?
to be farting dad.
But I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Only vampires can do that. We don't watch all of these movies. Vampires, all they got to do is stay up on the blood supply. What do a lot of these
People's brains.
elite participate in? Drinking blood,
WFC fight.
adrenochrome. They need blood. And this is what vampires need. They need blood. But the blood keep them looking youthful and young.
I want a lawyer.
They can live forever.
I'm sorry.
And you got all of these celebrities with these pictures and stuff from years and years and years ago. And you like, oh, that's people been talking about they clones. What if they ain't clones? What if it is them?
90 minutes to New Year's.
And they're just vampires, and we're getting them confused, possibly. Just let hear me out.
Jack Daniel.
With reptilians, and reptilians ain't got shit to do with that. They're just flat out vampires.
Internal affairs. You're under arrest for the illegal detainment of sacred
You know what I'm
stones.
saying? So vampires is levels to vampires. It's different levels to them, right? I'm talking about the low vibrational ones. You got energy vampires, all right? You got frequency vampires, you got all of that, right? We even consider it a form of vampire because people drain energy, right? We know that, right? But I'm talking about the low vibrational entities, these demons, vampires, and they need blood. What is blood is soul. It's energy, right? To keep them alive. Right? So this is why blood is like one of the major things. Think about it. So it's just I can have a lot of things running through my mind. We don't have to consume blood, no. But you do have energy vampires. You got people that drain your energy,
It's weird.
take
Left
from
my
you.
wife at home. She
So
was
it's levels to the vampires.
said she didn't have any plans. What do you think that's about?
I don't know.
Me neither.
And of course, none of this would be possible without tonight's sponsor.
So yeah, so you got a lot of these vampires out here, and it's not giving reptilian to me.
Boys in the lab alone.
It's not giving reptilian. It's giving something else. That's all I'm saying. It's giving something else. And sinners made me see things in a different light, especially how they was drawn to the music.
But Gustafson
You
confessed
understand?
the worst that haven't ever
In the
heard the
music world.
Miranda writes one.
So yeah.
It's Carrie that writes. Miranda is a lawyer. Charlotte's an art dealer. And Samantha's a whore.
So just something to think about.
I've been trying to call Beth for hours. She's not picking up. I just hope she's okay.
Yep. So this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm gonna figure out. Another thing too. Let me see something real quick before I get up off of here with you guys. Before I go to bed, let me just look at something real quick. Okay. Let me look this up real quick.
Hello, Miss Cherry Roosevelt Fatbozo Charming Spaghetti. I love your new look. Please, join me.
Hold up. Hold on.
Check, check. I'm on my way to the balls.
Okay, Frank, comms working. I'm in position. We have 25 minutes.
Just let me look up something real quick.
We're closed.
Hey, come on, one beer's not gonna kill you. One beer.
Get lost.
How much?
It's free. Just get the hell out of here.
Ed, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Frank. Uh-oh. I think one of Kane's goons is up there. Frank, can you hear me?
Check. Oh,
Somebody's up there, Frank. A guy is up there, Frank.
what's that, Ed?
Never mind.
Says and souls that crime. No music hates the world.
Tension in this arena is palpable. The moment of truth is here, folks.
Now, listen to this. Based off David Icke, he started up this stuff with these reptilians, right? Once again,
Let's go!
he's one of them kind. I'm trying to be careful how I'm talking on here. But yeah, David Icke. Okay? With this whole thing, this reptilian thing, right? Stating that they need, blood, human blood, to sustain themselves. My bad. Now, when you look at the biological fact about the reptiles, real reptiles are animals with diverse diets, needing blood only if they are parasitic, which most aren't, relying instead on insects, smaller animals, or plants just like any other creature. Just my thoughts.
That wig.
So the reptiles, which is the animals, only when needed if they are parasitic, but mostly they just eat insects, smaller animals, plants and stuff like that.
Nice work, Frank.
So
Hey, you got free beer?
when I think about reptilians, these creatures,
Oh boy. It's gotta be in here somewhere.
and they call them vampires too, but sometimes it just make me want to pull that reptilian out of it and just leave vampire, because we known for vampires to need blood, not for reptilians. That came about with David Icke.
Well, it looks as though we're having some technical difficulties with the New Year's Eve ball.
I can't quite reach.
So yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go on and get up off of here. I appreciate every single last one of y'all for bopping in on this live and sharing information with me as well. Like they say, great minds think alike. I'm glad that I'm not the only one who, thought like that. And so it's just something that we all can continue to look into. We need to continue to keep educating ourselves and raising our frequencies, protecting our families. If you got little ones, definitely keep a close eye on them. Um, Also, I know it's some stuff going on the news. I have not been able to really pay attention to the news because I have been swamped with other things. But I will be looking into that to see what's going on because I know it's a lot that's taking place. Again, I will be posting some books tomorrow, so make sure y'all try to tap in and check out my post tomorrow. I will post the videos on not a video, but the books on the books be on the ice wall. Excuse me. You already know what it is. For those who are just stepping into this live and you don't normally come on this live, if it resonate, let it marinate. If it don't apply, let it fly. I am not here for the dead. I am only for the awakened. This is high vibrational conversation. Sometimes stuff can get real thick in this room. I'm gonna hit y'all with the raw no chaser. We throwing it back. You know, that's just what it is. And
We don't want to hurt like crazy and you do it.
What do you see, Frank?
The device has some lights on it. Various holes. Weighs about 2.5 chili dogs. It's got some sort of timer on it. Synced up to
oh
measure
my
the
bad.
color
Yep,
detector.
y'all keep elevating. Y'all, I'm up over here getting sleepier and sleepier by the minute. You hear me? I'm over here about to forget what I gotta say. Cause the sleep, look, the melatonin is starting to settle in. It really is. About to start taking me out the game. My body like, it's time to go to sleep. All right, y'all. Look, I appreciate every single last one of y'all. Make sure y'all have y'all notifications on. You just never know when I'm finna go live. I can go live at any given time. Like I said, I try to go live again sometime soon once I get this information to share with y'all. But in the meantime, y'all, keep elevating. And until we meet again, I'm out. Peace.